Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. It's great to see so many familiar faces here at Vars today. Thank you to our host for making us feel so welcome. Events like this always remind me of the incredible strength and sense of purpose that define our industries and communities across Canada. Surely this gathering couldn't come at a more appropriate time. We all know these are challenging times for Canadian businesses, especially in sectors like steel, aluminum, copper, and beyond. But we also know that Canadians are no strangers to challenge. We come together, we innovate, and most importantly, we support each other along the way. That spirit of collaboration and resilience is exactly what brings us here today. C'est un honneur pour moi de vous présenter notre prochaine conférencière. La ministre Mélanie Joly est depuis des années une ardente défenseur des industries canadiennes. Elle apporte passion et clarté à chaque conversation. Always focused on the people behind the headlines, the workers, business owners, and families who make our economy strong. Minister Joly has always believed in tackling challenges head-on, working with partners, and putting forward real, meaningful solutions for Canadians. I know we're all looking forward to hearing her insights in what comes next for our strategic industries. So please join me, everyone, in warmly welcoming the Honourable Mélanie Joly.
OK. Alors, bonjour tout le monde. Merci, Giovanna. Merci pour la gentille introduction. Merci aussi à Nathalie de nous inviter ici. Oui, tu es là. Merci à Steve, que j'ai rencontré un petit peu plus tôt. Aussi à Leonardo. Thank you so much. Thank you all, folks, for being here and hosting us today. It's really, really appreciated. Puis moi, ça me fait plaisir d'être au cœur de la francophonie ontarienne également ici, dans l'Est ontarien. So we all know that we're going through a moment of profound economic change. And around the world, governments are moving and moving fast to protect their workers, protect their strategic industries, and at the same time, safeguard their supply chains. And so we know that trade patterns are shifting, and uncertainty is no longer an exception. It's just the reality. Talk to Nathalie and her team. And so we know that workers and business owners across the country, particularly in the steel, aluminum, and copper sectors, know very much this reality. Now, we also know that most recently the US announced changes how they would apply tariffs on products containing steel, aluminum, and copper. And this decision has impacts in Hamilton, in Sault Ste. Marie, and right here, of course, in Eastern Ontario. Et on l'a ressenti, l'impact des nouvelles interprétations des tarifs sur l'acier, l'aluminium et le cuivre, que ce soit en Beauce, que ce soit au Saguenay ou que ce soit à Valcourt. Et j'ai eu l'occasion d'avoir plusieurs discussions avec des PDG, également avec des syndicats. And so we know that we can't control the White House. We can't control what's going on south of the border, but we can control what we're doing here at home. And so, in a moment like this, we just don't stand still. We act. We must defend our workers and support them and support our businesses. And that's why there's so many people here gathered around to support our workers here at Vars, but also across the country. The steel, aluminum, and copper sectors are key. They're key, obviously, to our economy, key to our manufacturing sector, but also key to our sovereignty. Should Canada be one day in conflict, we need to be having these capabilities, particularly on the steel and aluminum side. And of course, for everything linked to our electric system and AI, and Evan would know about that, copper is extremely important as well. And so, today, we're announcing two measures. I'll present the first one, and my colleague Evan Solomon will be presenting the second one. And I'm proud to announce $1 billion through the BDC to support the steel, aluminum, and copper sectors. Thank you to all for all the work. I know that many people here around me have been advocating for this, from Lisa in Hamilton, also I know Terry Sheehan, Sault Ste. Marie, Dominic, also obviously in Guelph, everyone around this table, thank you. Marilyn also in Sarnia. Here's how we will be organizing our support. So the BDC will be offering favorable terms for 3-year loans. The loans will be between $2 million up to $50 million. The first year will be 0 interest rate, and afterwards, year second and third will be very low rates. There will be no repayment for the entire 3 years, only actually interest to be paid on these loans. And at the end of the 3 years, that's when repayment will be asked. Donc, j'ai le plaisir d'annoncer aujourd'hui $1 milliard via la BDC pour soutenir notre secteur de l'aluminium, de l'acier et du cuivre. Et la façon dont nous allons organiser l'aide, essentiellement, ce sont des prêts avec des conditions très favorables, avec 0% d'intérêt pour la première année. Et l'année 2 et l'année 3, à ce moment-là, ce sera des intérêts à très faible taux. Les prêts vont être entre 2 millions jusqu'à 50 millions de dollars et le repaiement, en fait, le remboursement du prêt tout au cours du 3 ans va être seulement sur les intérêts et à la fin du 3 ans, à ce moment-là, ça sera pour le capital. So let me be clear, this is not the only response to current pressures. It's part of a broader industrial strategy we have, because short term, our goal is to provide liquidities to companies in order for them to keep their workers. Medium term, what we're trying to do is really to help businesses adapt, pivot, try to get into new markets. And long term, what we're doing is we're building Canada strong. So we're really working on having a domestic demand that will be very helpful for these different businesses in these sectors. And at the same time, we're developing new markets. That's exactly why the Prime Minister is in Armenia today, making sure that we can also help businesses export to new markets. Donc l'avenir de ces secteurs, c'est aussi l'avenir du Canada. Ça s'inscrit dans une panoplie de mesures que nous avons mis en place. Premièrement, on a mis des contre-tarifs de 25% contre les produits américains. Deuxièmement, on a resserré nos frontières pour limiter l'acier de l'extérieur qui ne respectait pas les règles. On a mis en place un fonds de 5 milliards de dollars également et on a un soutien via les agences de développement économique régional, dont DEC au Québec, pour soutenir nos PME. And Evan will have more to say on the regional development agencies. We also expect our banks and our financial institutions to do their part. So we won't be passive. We have a plan. We're putting it into place. When events occur, what do? Well, actually, we adapt, and we won't be dependent on decisions that are taken abroad. We will make sure that we have our own present and future in our hands. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Merci Mel. Je veux remercier Mélanie pour cette aimable présentation, and great to be here. Look, this is, I want to first acknowledge, Natalie, thank you for inviting us here. This incredible facility, this incredible company, Les Ateliers Borac, ici, woman-owned, led manufacturer that showcases the strength and skill of our manufacturing sector. I want to just say that we are here because of the advocacy of so many members of Parliament. Lisa Hepner, who's here, Marie-France Lalonde, who's here, Bruce Fanjoy is here, Dominic O'Rourke, who's done a great job, Peter Fragiskakos, Karim Bardisi, Jean-Paul Danko, Marilyn Gladu, one of our 2 engineers, Simoka, who's a second engineer here, and we have many, many others, Giovanna Mingarelli, who's riding We Are In, which is fantastic. I want to also acknowledge the mayor of Russell, Mike Taranowski, and the mayor of, I think, Clarence Rockland, Mario Zanth. Great to see you. Look, the leadership matters. The advocacy, as Mel said, in a crisis goes on. This is a tariff war, and we got to protect our industries, and these members of Parliament and Mélanie Joly, the leadership, the advocacy, the contact on the ground. I also want to give a shout out to the RDAs. and the teams that fed Dev for me and for Mel and for all the others who are on the ground listening to the workers. Fantastic work. This is a really important announcement, and the $1 billion that Mélanie talks about from BDC is going to be crucial. So thank you to the team at BDC as well, which is fantastic. Look, it is good to be here avec Mélanie to announce this kind of critical, urgent, and timely support for our businesses, our workers, and our manufacturers. Je suis très heureuse d'être ici avec Mélanie pour annoncer le soutien essentiel de nos travailleuses et travailleurs à nos entreprises, nos fabricants et à l'industrie. We know the impacts of global disruptions. We know they're absolutely brutal on our supply chains, but more importantly, on the families and our communities. And a special shout out to the workers, okay? Because this is about the workers, and we just were watching them. They have families. They're working hard every day to produce this steel, produce these products, but they got families they're taking care of. And what members of Parliament know, Mel and I know, and Nathalie knows, this is about their families. This is about taking care of their communities, and thank you for your work. Okay, encore fois, thank you. In my job as the Minister of Regional Economic Development for Southern Ontario, like Mel, like all the députés ici, we meet the families, we meet the workers every day, and we hear directly from the businesses, and we see firsthand the impact that these tariffs are having, and it's tough. But I will tell you that what's tougher are our companies and our workers. They are innovative, they are resilient, they are strong, and that's why our government is always going to support the workers and the companies that employ them. Through the Regional Tariff Response Initiative, we are helping businesses enter new markets. We are stabilizing in the near term and building a bridge for the future because they need to be here in the future. And that is why today I am very proud, on behalf of our entire team, on behalf of all of the MPs and the Prime Minister, on behalf of all the RDAs, that the Government of Canada is going to provide an additional $500 million in funding through the Regional Tariff Response Initiative delivered by the regional development agencies. À cette fin, je suis heureuse d'annoncer que le gouvernement du Canada fournira, dans le cadre de l'initiative régionale de réponse tarifaire, un financement supplémentaire de 500 millions de dollars qui sera mis en œuvre par l'Agence de développement régional. This brings the amount we are investing in this initiative to $1.5 billion nationally. Okay? We are here for workers. This additional funding will help SMEs, like the one we're here, face the tariff-related challenges, access the funding they need to make strategic pivots, improve productivity, diversify markets, and stay competitive. And this initiative is helping companies like Bow-Rock right here. This proud Canadian manufacturer, specializing, as you've all seen, in custom-built steel and stainless steel dump truck bodies, is a key employer in the region, almost 100 workers, and an important contributor to Canada's manufacturing supply chain. In 2023, they received an investment of over $6 million from FedDev to help maintain operations. We're in a facility with the laser cutter here that $6 million investment helped the company grow. And remember, that is a repayable loan. We are investing in a company to grow. And I'm proud to announce today that because of the tariffs, because we back great companies like this in this great region, in this industrial park, which the mayor tells me is growing like hotcakes, which is fantastic, I'm proud to announce a new Government of Canada investment of $800,000 in Bow-Rock through the Regional Tariff Response Initiative. Félicitations. This investment will help Bow-Rock modernize its operations with new advanced tech that will enhance their resiliency and competitiveness. And you need it. Some of the equipment here is, I hate to say, it's maybe not older than me, but certainly older than the rest of them. This is exactly what the RTRI is designed to do. Look, we're here to support businesses. It's not just about surviving disruptions, but let's face it, we're in a tariff war, we've got to do that. It's about creating more innovative, stronger, more resilient, more competitive companies. Canadian manufacturers are resilient. Our workers are skilled. Our businesses are ready to compete globally when they have the right support. Grâce aux investissements que nous annonçons aujourd'hui, le gouvernement de Canada est solidaire des entreprises et des travailleuses et travailleurs canadiens. Today, we're putting that into action again. Together, we're going to change. We're going to adapt to this war. We're going to seize new opportunities. We're going to connect with businesses. And make no mistake, we're going to come out of this tariff war stronger, and our businesses will be better, but we need to get in the game and invest in them now. That's exactly what we're doing today. Merci, Nathalie. Alors, Nathalie, I invite you to say a few words.
Thank you. Merci. Minister Joly, Mr. Solomon, Giovanna Mingarelli, all other members of Parliament and municipal leaders for being here today and for your commitment to supporting Canadian manufacturing. On behalf of everyone at Beaurock, I want to express our sincere gratitude for this investment through the Regional Terrorist Response Initiative. This support comes at a critical time. Like many Canadian manufacturers, we are navigating increasing global pressures, rising costs, and shifting trade dynamics. Programs like RTRI don't just provide funding, they provide stability, confidence, and the ability to plan for the future. At Beaurock, we are proud to build here in Canada. We employed skilled local workers, and we've also been fortunate to welcome many highly skilled international workers over the past 6 years who have become an essential part of our team and our community. Together, they represent the strength of our industry, but also one of its key challenges. As we look ahead, ensuring we can retain the skilled workers who are already contributing here in Canada will be essential to fully realizing investments like this. This support will allow us to continue modernizing our operation, strengthening our workforce, and creating opportunities right here at home. What matters most is that this isn't just about our company, it's about supporting an entire ecosystem of suppliers, employees, and communities that depend on a strong manufacturing sector. We are committed to using this investment responsibly and strategically to ensure long-term impact. Thank you again for your trust, your partnership, and belief in Canadian industry. Merci encore pour votre confiance, votre partnership, and votre croyance en l'industrie canadienne. We look forward to what we can achieve together. And I'd now like to invite everyone to stay for a brief media availability and photo opportunity. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Hi, everyone. We're going to take a few questions from the media. It's going to be one question, one follow-up. Thank you very much.
Hi, Mike Lequateur from CTV
Mike.
News. Minister Joly, do you think the steel and aluminum tariffs will be in place forever?
So first and foremost, I would like to also highlight the work of certain of my colleagues, and then I'll answer your question. Because Karim Berdizi, who's my PS, is here, and I must say he's done a great job working on everything linked to auto, to steel, aluminum. Thank you, Karim. And I know JP Danko is here from Hamilton, came in last night with Lisa, Marie-France aussi, Peter, of course, Dominic, and Giovanna, Marilyn, Seema, Bruce, and of course, these are all people that have been advocating and really working with Evan and I and all those who are in charge of regional development agencies to actually act and come up with some solutions. To your question, Mike, you don't know, I don't know. So this is not up to us to answer that question because these decisions will be taken south of our border. Meanwhile, we just don't sit idle waiting for things to happen. We act. And that's why today we announced $1.5 billion to support our steel, aluminum, and copper workers.
on this actual program, what kind of oversight is going to be in place to make sure that the money actually goes to keep the workers working rather than going to CEO bonuses like we'd seen with some of the COVID pandemic loans?
Yes, listen, you know, if you talk to Natalie, if you talk to CEOs across the country that have been impacted by these new tariffs, what I hear, and even talking obviously to unions, is everybody is in the same fight. We're in a trade war, we're on the front lines, and the goal is to protect workers and actually keep companies afloat. So our goal is really to make sure ultimately that the businesses keep their workforces and that we can help them pivot. And it's not an easy task, Mike. Like fundamentally, if you're a business like Canam or Manac, and you're Charles Dutil, which I worked with over the past weeks, and you're actually being impacted by tariffs for the first time, you're thinking about your business and your people. That's what you're doing. And so that's what I've heard from CEOs across the country, and we'll make sure ultimately that this money goes into the right hands.
But will you have rules there to make sure?
Yes, of course.
We always do.
Boris Proulx, Le Devoir. Madame Joly, on a rapporté samedi, je crois, que 24% des exportations québécoises sont désormais tarifées à cause de ce changement de définition. Vous avez dit, on a senti l'impact de cette nouvelle définition. Ouais. Comment expliquez-vous que personne n'a semblé avoir donné le message à votre chef, le premier ministre Mark Carney, quand il a dit, le 23 avril dernier, il y a une raison pour laquelle 85% des échanges sont exemptés des droits de douane, que c'est maintenu? De toute évidence, ce n'est pas maintenu, ça s'est aggravé.
Bien, je pense que deux réalités peuvent être vraies en même temps. C'est-à-dire que oui, en effet, on a un accès au marché américain. On a quand même la meilleure entente au monde pour avoir accès au marché américain. Mais en même temps, on a des tarifs, en vertu des tarifs 232, qui affectent 3 secteurs en particulier aujourd'hui dont on parle, l'acier, l'aluminium et le cuivre. On a bien entendu le secteur automobile qui est affecté. Et donc, dans les circonstances, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? On travaille avec ces industries-là, on travaille avec le gouvernement du Québec. J'ai parlé avec la première ministre Christine Fréchette encore vendredi soir pour l'informer de l'annonce d'aujourd'hui. J'ai parlé avec Bernard Drainville également vendredi midi pour l'informer de l'annonce d'aujourd'hui. Et on va être capable de dépendre nos travailleurs et nos entreprises au Québec ensemble.
Je note le délai de 3 ans, 3 ans avant de repayer le capital de vos prêts. La stratégie, est-ce que je comprends bien, c'est que dans 3 ans, il n'y aura plus de Donald Trump, il n'y aura plus de tarifs et cette situation, cette guerre commerciale sera réglée?
Écoutez, on ne peut pas prévoir l'avenir. Notre objectif, ça va être toujours de défendre nos intérêts, mais ce que je peux vous dire, c'est que ça amène une prévisibilité qui est nécessaire dans les circonstances. Si vous êtes en charge d'une entreprise puis vous voulez faire des investissements, plus vous êtes capable d'avoir des termes plus long, donc par conséquent de 3 ans, plus vous allez être capable d'investir dans votre entreprise. Et c'est pourquoi on va s'adapter, oui, à la géopolitique, mais on va également offrir de la prévisibilité à nos entreprises. Anytime you want to add.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add is to Mike's question about to oversight. Look, the money that's going through the RDAs through the RTRI. Look, we have a process there. The regional development agencies are very clear on that. There's lots of follow-up. These are carefully scoped and followed up, and so this is all done through the RDAs, and so this is one of the reasons that the $500 million is going through there, and those are carefully followed up and scoped and tracked very carefully. And of course, BDC, as Mel can talk about, has very strict regulations and follow-up for all their loans. So we're very confident, Mike, that this money is going to where it's needed. And as Mel said, it is needed in a trade war. And just the last thing is the CEOs know this. I mean, they are experiencing this. That's why we are here to back them up. This is a trade war to fight to keep these companies not only resilient today, but so they can grow tomorrow.
And I would like to add, when you announced the $800 million for Beauroc, the reaction behind was nice. Why? Because it means that the company will continue to invest and therefore will keep its employees and actually hire more. So that's what's going on the floors of plants across the country when they know that basically their company is getting support.
Good morning, Ministers. Kate McKenna from CBC News. Some Canadian exports are now securing exemptions in Washington, so their steel and other products aren't actually facing tariffs after all. Will your department take new American exemptions into consideration before providing additional taxpayer-backed financing so companies can't double dip?
Of course, we have criteria. We can provide it to you, but mainly companies need to be affected. 20% of their revenues need to be affected by the tariffs. And so that's part of the consideration, but we'll give you the details of that.
A few weeks ago, there was an order in council that announced more counter tariffs on steel were being dropped. I don't think that was announced publicly in any other context. Could you explain why that was done and why does the government plan to let in more imports at this time?
Usually our decision is based on the demand of our businesses here. Because what we want to do is we want to be able to put counter tariffs to fight the trade war and make sure that we protect our market. But at the same time, what we're trying to do is to not jeopardize our supply chains and not create an overly burden on our companies. So it's based on a conversation with industries, and that's how we do it.
Bonjour, Juliane Lapointe de Radio-Canada. Le fameux 85% justement de nos exportations qui étaient exemptées, est-ce que vous avez une idée maintenant avec les changements du début avril? On est à combien environ là, de nos exportations canadiennes qui sont soumises ou non aux droits de douane américains? J'ai
pas l'information avec moi, mais on va s'assurer de vous la donner d'ici les prochaines heures.
Mais estimation quelconque, avez-vous une idée que ça peut ressembler à quoi justement un mois plus tard, le big picture?
C'est sûr que la nouvelle interprétation des tarifs a un énorme impact sur le secteur manufacturier. Donc, on s'attend à ce que le secteur manufacturier vivent les conséquences de ces tarifs-là parce que la donne qui est changée, c'est que c'est essentiellement sur la valeur de l'équipement qui est envoyé aux États-Unis plutôt que le pourcentage d'acier et d'aluminium qui est compris dans l'équipement. Et donc, ça fait en sorte justement d'augmenter le montant de tarifs payés par les entreprises. Et c'est pourquoi on arrive avec de l'aide de 1,5 milliard aujourd'hui.
Puis, dans ce que vous présentez aujourd'hui, qu'est-ce qui vous fait croire que des garanties de prêt, ce sera suffisant pour aider les entreprises qui pensaient peut-être devoir fermer, à mettre ça complètement de côté? Là, les travailleurs, vous les avez présentés derrière vous, qui se disent, ben moi, sur 3 ans, dans 3 ans, il n'y a rien qui me garantit que ça ira vraiment mieux. Donc, en quoi c'était vraiment l'annonce qui devait être faite aujourd'hui des garanties de prêt?
On s'est inspiré d'autres crises qu'on a passées, auxquelles le gouvernement a été confronté, notamment lors des tarifs la dernière fois durant l'administration Trump. Et donc, on a décidé de mettre en place des mesures qui sont semblables, mais d'aller encore plus loin parce que les tarifs vont encore plus loin. C'est comme ça qu'on a décidé d'agir. À l'époque, ça avait fonctionné. On pense qu'on est capable de faire en sorte que ça puisse fonctionner maintenant.
Hi, Kyle Duggan from the Canadian Press. Question for Minister Joly.
Yeah.
What will you be looking for from Shell in the Investment Canada Act review of its proposed acquisition of ARC Resources?
Well, first and foremost, when the transaction will come up my desk, I will be able to look at the different conditions, and you'll be the first one to know.
Okay, thank you. And for Minister Solomon, it's been 6 months since you've wrapped consultations on the AI strategy. What's holding that up, and is there a timeline for when that might be released?
Great question. It'll be coming very soon. We obviously are rolling out a series of strategies that are important. Look, even when we did our consultations, the industry has changed dramatically. The impact of AI has changed, and we are consulting. Last week, I consulted with labor leaders, environmentalists, young kids on Gen Z. We are making sure that when we launch this strategy, there's an element, as you saw, the 6 pillars in the Spring Economic Update, that it will meet the changing needs of labor and all the stakeholder groups, and it's coming very soon, and I look forward to chatting with you, but you've seen the outline of it in the Spring Economic Update. Thanks. One thing,
yeah, that's it.
Natalie doesn't want to speak about it, but I will say to the last, pour la dernière question, like this, you know, it's hard to predict what's going to happen in 3 years. Like, but if you talk to CEOs like Natalie, but many across, for me, Southern Ontario, you know, it's not 3 years. First and foremost, when you're a CEO, you've got to keep your workers next month, this year. You got to keep your orders. So, you know, there is lots of series of planning. The reason why we're moving so quickly today, and I think every MP here will tell you, is because CEOs are saying, and company owners, entrepreneurs, these are family-run businesses that have been around for generations, pillars of communities. These are places where workers have come and supported their families, and you know, they, like all of us, wake up and there's a change in the tariffs, and they have to adjust. They have to adjust their supply chains. They have to adjust where the market's going to go. We also need to adjust. We control what we control, and what we control is our confidence in our manufacturing family and the people across the country that are, and especially, remember, as Mel said, 85% of our industries are tariff-free. We have the best deal in the world. But steel, aluminum, autos, copper, softwood, we've got challenged industries, and we are going to back those. And we are going to make sure that they have a way to get through the current crisis so they emerge stronger tomorrow. We can't predict what's going to be there in 3 years. You talk to a CEO today, but they've been here for many years. And any CEO is planning to get through a storm with this kind of investment and support so they can be here. So we are confident that investment in our manufacturing industries will mean that they will be here, and that's the very goal of these immediate and urgent measures that we're taking today. No.
And I wasn't asked the question, but I would like to add that we're in conversation with the softwood and forestry sector to be able to obviously support them even more. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't hear Mike.
Sorry, Mike.
So then, since you brought it up, what kind of conversations are you having with them, and what kind of package could you be looking for them?
So the tariffs that are affected the softwood and forestry sectors are not the same as the 232 ones. So we've been having a lot of conversations, obviously, through the Prime Minister and Dominic LeBlanc with the U.S., but we know that what we're offering today are very favorable terms through the BDC and through our regional development agencies. The regional development agencies will be able to cover forestry and softwood, also industries and companies across the country, and we are working to be able to offer similar terms through the BDC. Donc, on travaille présentement sur le secteur du bois d'œuvre et le secteur de la foresterie. On sait présentement que les tarifs qui affectent ce secteur-là ne sont pas les mêmes que l'acier, l'aluminium et le cuivre. Ce que Evan a annoncé aujourd'hui va pouvoir être couvert au niveau des agences de développement économique régional pour le secteur du bois d'œuvre et également de la forêt. Mais en même temps, on regarde au niveau de la BDC comment on peut offrir le même type de soutien, parce que le soutien qu'on offre aujourd'hui est très favorable.
Merci tout le monde. Ça conclut la période de questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.